Hello, and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of March 9th, 2015. Welcome to the site to you new members, and welcome back to the old members. The Ask Videomail is your chance to get your question in character, animation, or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it right. Yes! So please send them to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions, and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and it is the best way to get the most out of the site. Take advantage of it, please. Even if you're here on a free trial, just hanging out, trying to check it out, see what's going on here inside the site, that means that you are who I want to hear from. I want to know what you want to know, because that means that maybe you'll stick around. Maybe you'll hang out and contribute to the community, ask great questions, which means great video mails. Everybody wins. Who doesn't win? That's my question to you. Nobody doesn't win. Anyway, let's move on. The years is really kind of piling up on me. If you're following me on Facebook, you know that my grandmother was in an accident this year. I have been working on a application for her, and she really likes it. And so I've been, doing a lot of game development as well as other stuff here, and I'm really excited about that. Just as a thing to do. I've been kind of putting off learning how to do any programming or any stuff that's related for a long time, and now that I've been doing it, I wish I started sooner. But I guess it's like that with everything. But you might notice that over the coming months, I may do some things that are a little bit more kind of like overall content related. I believe that it is kind of my duty to get you guys constantly thinking about what you can do, not just with animation, but with, kind of like content in general. I also just last night went to a sort of like an event at Meltdown Comics, which is a comic book store on Sunset Boulevard, and they do a lot of like media stuff and content stuff, not just comic books, but like movies and TV and whatever. And I just got the really kind of reassuring sense of how important it is for us to tell our stories and to be pushing our stories and trying to get as many people as possible to hear our stories. And last night was a huge kind of reassuring moment for me, because there's just so much creativity there and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit over enthused about this, but you may see a little bit more. Just like last year, there was the Kickstart Your Idea lecture, and where I said if anyone comes up with a Kickstarter campaign for a short film, I will be the first person, and I will pledge $100 to your idea. All right, so I just want to remind you about that. Okay, I will be the first person in line, and I will back you for $100. All right. So let's do that. Let's make that work. So at any rate, that's just how I'm feeling this year. It's been really tough. Like, things have been very up and down for me, but through it all, I've kind of felt very encouraged by this new sense of making content and putting content out there really quickly. Of course, all I'm making is kind of like silly little games right now, but we'll get to the point. I think that I'm doing a little bit more substantial storytelling with that stuff. But let's get to the question this week. It's another good one. I think you'll enjoy it. Check it out. Great question. This is a question I knew I had to answer it immediately. This is a question that came in actually just a few days ago, even though I do have a list of a lot of questions that we need to get through. This one I said, I have to answer this one because it deals with an update to sort of what I've been talking about for a long time in terms of demo reel readiness and all those kinds of things. And in fact, I've been asked on a pretty regular basis what my opinion is on demo reels and what you need to do and how you need to learn and all these things, and that's great. So my new feeling, and this has to do with tempo and workflow, here we go. My new feeling is that if you're asking the question, what are the must-do exercises, then you're going about it in the wrong way, and here is why. The very question of what are the must-do exercises sort of presumes that there is not enough time to do the must-do exercises and maybe just the second tier exercises and maybe the third tier exercises, whatever. And I may be being a little harsh right now, but so for instance, perhaps this animator thought to themselves, well, I'm doing a lot of exercise right now, but which ones should I not miss? And if that's the way they asked it, then I would say that you should focus first and foremost on improving the tests you're already doing. For instance, no characters sitting down or behind a table or at a bar or behind a pedestal or covering their body in any way. All right, no doing less animation in your shots because of clever camera work. Okay, in general, you want to be posing and acting and performing head to toe every single shot you're doing if it's an exercise. Okay, because that's how it just works. Okay, name a scene from a major animated film where the characters are sitting down and covered up, and you'd be hard pressed to actually name one. Characters are standing, they're moving around the room, they're talking to each other, about each other, they're establishing relationships, they're using the subtext to color the secondary action, and the animation is always very dynamic. Okay, but name one scene, and I don't mean one shot. I mean name one scene where it's characters sitting and covered up. Like I see so many of for instance, the 11-second club tests, and I'd be very, very impressed. And so not only just improving them that way, but also improving them by making sure that you're acting in 360 degrees. And the helper objects that in the first tempo lecture, the helper objects are super, super helpful. Okay, in terms of just getting your character posed quickly with those IK World movers moving for you. Okay, super, 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 super helpful. Okay, and just making it so that your character feels like they're free to move around this entire room and not just on 90-degree, turns. Okay, I actually hadn't turned a character completely around ever when I went up to ILM for the for the apprenticeship that I did there. I hadn't ever done it, and it was lucky because it was so long ago that there still weren't very many CG animators that had taught themselves. But for the most part, I mean, that's pretty insane to imagine that you could get an animation job and not have a ever animated a character turning completely around ever. So that might be something that I could say that is a test that you could do, that a must-do test. Something in which the character turns and moves, not just does a spin, but moves in 360 degrees. So they could be walking in a circle and then turning and saying something and then moving closer and then going off a different way. As long as they have used all 360 degrees of range of movement on the character, then that would be a good test. But to go back though, I feel so that was the answer if all the question was indicating about the workflow of this animator was that they have a lot of tests and they're doing a lot of tests and they want to do better tests. I would say improve them. But for a lot of people, and trust me, I know because I've been teaching for 2015. Geez, I've been teaching for 10 years now. Okay, and in 10 years, I have encountered this question based mostly on the premise that I only have a certain amount of time. What tests should I do that will get me the furthest in terms of animating? And that's the totally wrong approach. What you want to be thinking is, how many tests can I do that will essentially, through repetition, expose my workflow problems and allow me to make the changes I need to in order to get another test done faster. You see the difference there? How many can I get done? And then, if you, as you can, imagine, the instant you start focusing on that, the effect will snowball, because you're focusing on making the workflow adjustments you need to so that the next test goes faster. And when the next test goes faster, and hopefully exposing yet another workflow adjustment that you can make to go even faster and even faster and even faster, then the whole idea that I don't have enough time to do all of the animation that I want to do that will make me the best animator, that'll be out the window. And with a strong enough workflow, you don't have to have animated everything that exists. Okay? How many shots have I animated in my entire career? Probably, like professionally, like that I've been hired to animate. Probably, actually now that's kind of, but probably a couple hundred. How many have I animated, like, in total? A couple thousand, I would imagine. You're not supposed to be. You're not hired for the work you've done. You're hired for your workflow. And if you focus on building a strong enough workflow that you're able to do anything that is put in front of you, then you are finally in the right place. You can take your time and approach a shot that is filled with unknowns in a way that will guarantee its success. Do you understand? So that's my overall advice is to, if you are thinking, if when you saw this question come up on here, and be honest with yourself, when you saw this question, you were like, oh, okay, great. Now I'm going to hear the couple of tests that I get to do that will take me further. Then I'm talking directly to you right now. If that's how you thought when you saw this question, I'm talking directly to you. It's all about exercising. That's why it's called the Anim Gym. Okay, it's all about exercising, drilling the component parts of your workflow so that when it's game time, you have all of that at your disposal. That is the difference. Okay? That is the difference. So take that to heart, please, and start doing the Anim Gym. And if you are so overwhelmed with the amount of work that you have, and you don't feel like you can make the adjustment to just be doing like test after test after test after test, then at the very least, make the tests you're doing better by not worrying about them so much, not worrying about the quality and how they're turning out and if they're living up to expectations. Still do all of your tests with the thought in mind of making them really good workflow practice instead. Okay? Really good workflow practice. All right? And it will, hopefully what will happen is you will be doing the same kind of tests and the same kind of drills that the animators that are really concerned about workflow and are getting better fast, except you will be doing just a few less of them, like per month or whatever. But if you don't have as much time as you think you need, you're not going to get better faster by doing a certain list of magic animation tests. It doesn't exist. Okay? So I hope that made it clear. That was a great question. I'm glad to answer it. Please send more questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. That was a blast. Thanks for watching. Good luck with your animation. And as always, rock on.